Hi, I'm Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gilmore. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. You will hear how we're responding to the pandemic, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions during today's Mayor at Noon. Today, we're going to talk about how the pandemic has impacted youth sports. Soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world, and that's no exception here in the city of Santa Clara with our youth. Steve Robertson is joining me today as my special guest. Steve has been involved with just about every aspect of soccer his entire life, as a player, coach, and current president of Santa Clara Youth Soccer League, the largest youth league in the city of Santa Clara. The league has nearly 1,500 players with diverse financial and cultural demographics and provides a variety of opportunities for young players of all abilities. He works collaboratively with Santa Clara Unified School District and neighboring soccer leagues to provide a healthy and safe environment for our children to play. He also played professionally with Real Santa Barbara SC, the San Francisco Blackhawks, and the San Jose Grizzlies. He spent his collegiate career right here at Santa Clara University and was part of the 1989 NCAA Men's National Championship team. I think we have a photo of Steve back in his college days. I'd like to show that before we show him today. I think it's coming up. Here we go. There you go. Wow, Steve Robertson, back in the day. So Steve, thank you for joining me today. That's an incredible picture there.
Such a before and after photo, yeah.
Before and after.
Thanks for having me.
I can tell the age of the photo by the length of the shorts there. So
yeah, the late 80s was an interesting fashion time for youth sports, for sure. The one thing about that photo I did enjoy was that was a picture right before I scored the winning goal against Stanford. So anyone that is from Santa Clara University fan will appreciate that comment.
Oh, that's right. So that was that in the?
That was actually my junior year.
Oh, your junior year. Okay. Well, being from USC, I'm glad you scored against Stanford. You know how that goes. So rivalries, right? That's pretty amazing. You know, what's interesting, and you may not even know, but you played for the San Francisco Blackhawks, and the owner, Dan Van Voorhis, was that his name?
Van Voorhis.
Yes. So way back when I was a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, where we were trying to get a soccer park built in Santa Clara, we were working with the San Francisco Blackhawks at the time you were playing with them to get our youth soccer park in Santa Clara built. Certainly they never ended up being involved at the end product, but the connection got us started to get the city involved in building the youth soccer park in Santa Clara. So there's a connection there.
Well, that's great. Well, Dan was really instrumental in moving soccer forward in the Bay Area, so that's a great story.
Well, thank you for joining me today. We appreciate it. We know the pandemic has really affected youth sports, and we're going to have an opportunity to hear from you and talk about that today. Right. So as president of the Youth Soccer League, can you first of all, explain the makeup of the Santa Clara Youth Soccer League? I know you have different levels of play, so tell us about the Youth Soccer League.
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, we have about 1,500 players pre-pandemic, and it is roughly split between our foundational level, which is a third of our players are at the recreational level, and then the remaining 2/3 is at the competitive level at all spectrums, from lower level comp all the way up to our premier level competitive. So it's about a 1/3, 2/3 split between recreational play and competitive play.
So prior to the pandemic, what was your registration looking like for the different levels of soccer?
Well, our recreational program has been stable for the last several years. Where we've seen the growth has been on the competitive arm. Our mid-tier Santa Clara Lions program has grown tremendously over the last 3 years. And our premier program, Santa Clara Sporting, is among the top youth soccer clubs in the country. So just because of that reputation, we get a lot of demand and visibility. So, that's a very vibrant program as well.
I have 3 children, and 2 of them were in the sporting competitive program, and 1 was in just the recreational program. But even in the recreational program, you have different levels. You have, is it top soccer?
Yeah, so we have just your core recreational, so anywhere from 5, 6 years old up to about 9, 10 years old, and we actually have recreation that goes up beyond that for a lot of student athletes that want to play multiple sports. We also have Top Soccer, which is a program that benefits individuals with disabilities. So we try to cater to as much of the youth constituency as we can.
So everyone with all kinds of playing abilities, the children with every type of playing ability has a place in Santa Clara Youth Soccer League.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. So how is your league coping with the pandemic compared to the surrounding leagues in the Bay Area or California?
So like everyone, soccer shut down in March when the shutdown order happened in the state and across the U.S. We were actually able to begin limited training with safe pods. Where there's not direct contact, but since July, our teams have been able to come back and participate in a training environment, not in a game environment, but in a training environment. We've been doing that since mid-July and are just waiting for the county and the state to provide us with the go-ahead to do more competitive activity. Some leagues we're hearing are doing a little bit more. Especially the competitive, soccer teams. They have lofty goals and certainly want to push the envelope. And we're no different. But our league is really trying to follow the safety protocols and the guidelines so that we don't see incidents of COVID, creeping into our player pool. And we've been fortunate that hasn't been the case thus far.
A lot of times I hear, well, why aren't we doing this in Santa Clara? Because in San Mateo County or Alameda County, they're doing, they're allowed to do this and that. And I know you probably get the same type of questions, like why is your league not pushing the envelope to have more play or more contact play?
We do, and it makes it worse that people turn on the TV or they look on the internet and they see several other states where competition has resumed. But in our state, the guidelines are on a county-by-county basis.
Right.
We're governed by Santa Clara County, and the city of Santa Clara, who we partner with, we work together to follow the guidelines to the T. What we don't want to have happen is not follow the guidelines and then, suffer the consequences of, our kids, our parents, or our coaches getting sick.
Right. We'll talk about a little bit later about the competitive aspect of it and what's happening in Northern versus Southern California. But talk a little bit, if you can, Steve, about the benefits of recreational soccer and having the kids out. And what are you hearing from the parents? Because it's my understanding the league has been canceled for the fall, obviously, recreational soccer. So what are you hearing from the parents and the kids?
Yes, well, to me, recreational soccer is the most important part of soccer. This is a level where everyone is introduced to the game. This is where we have the opportunity as a league or as coaches to introduce young people to the game and to develop a passion for the game. So for me, recreational soccer is very important. What we heard from the parents, we heard more nonverbal communication, meaning that, in the summer when we started opening up registrations, competitive players are going to register because of the nature of competitive soccer. Our recreational program saw probably 10 to 15% of our normal activity because parents were concerned about safety and what's really going to happen. Are we going to really have a season? So we made the tough decision in mid-September to cancel the fall recreational program just to make sure that we we provide a safe zone for our kids, and if we're not able to do that for our rec program, we just felt it was better to delay and maybe look to the spring season rather than try and go forward with a fall season that was continuing to get pushed out.
I know one of the options would have been having the parents or having the children work in these little pods and other things without games and other things. But sometimes I think it might be a little difficult when you have the 4 and 5-year-olds that are trying to keep them apart. They're social creatures, and to have them say, no, 6 feet apart is just about impossible because of their nature.
It is. I mean, we're all social animals, especially the young ones that just don't know distance. I mean, we're having issues with our 16 and 17-year-olds keeping proper distance, and they're used to this. So I think that fact, combined with the fact that we just, had most of our rec parents playing a wait and see attitude towards the fall, it just made sense to delay things until we got, better word from the county and the state that it was safe to move forward.
It sounds like it's the right decision. So based on what's happening. So let's talk about competitive soccer. And these are the children that play year-round. You have kind of 2 different tiers of competitive soccer.
Yeah, so like I said, we have our middle tier, which is the Santa Clara Lions. Mm-hmm. So these are kids that have graduated from the recreational program, but may not be at the level to compete at the premier level. Like I said, we've seen some great growth in that area, which is fantastic. And then of course our the Santa Clara Sporting Program, again, being among the best in the country. They've done a great job of working with our league and with the city officials to do as much as they can to be ready for top competition when that comes around.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what's happening. I mean, now I'm an ex-soccer mom, but to see what's happening in Santa Clara County and Northern California, for instance, versus what's happening in Southern California, because I see some of these kids at tournaments and other things, and I'm saying, what is happening here?
Well, candidly, it's frustrating. I'm also still a coach. I'm on the fields fairly regularly. We have only been allowed to train, so our kids are happy to be out there training. I'm involved with an older team, a team that's mostly high school seniors, but they're ready to compete. And the frustrating part for us is that we now know that there are teams in Southern California that are just driving over the borders to Nevada and Arizona to compete in tournaments where those states have allowed that type of competition to commence. So for us, we're going to be safe when we're training here in Santa Clara County and so forth. And we have had a few of our elite sporting teams, go to places like Utah to compete. And we're pushing with other neighboring leagues to work with the state to try and come up with safe conditions to open up competition sooner versus later. So we're in a gray zone that's not comfortable, to be totally honest with you right now.
Right, because that's what I'm seeing. One of the biggest tournaments in soccer is Surf Cup, and I know a lot of people have heard about that over the years. It's in San Diego every year during the summer. And then they have a college cup, and now aren't they moving to Arizona or Nevada or Utah
That's right.
or somewhere?
So Surf Cup is usually one of the premier soccer tournaments in the country, as you mentioned. Most of the top Division I, Division II, Division III schools recruit at that tournament. It typically happens at the first part of August, so it got delayed to Labor Day, and then it got delayed to the end of September. And now they've just moved it out of the state, out of San Diego, where it's normally held, to Phoenix during New Year's.
Wow, so you talk about the college recruiting process. So what advice do you have for the student athletes who are trying to get college scholarships and other opportunities in college for this strange and unprecedented year? Have they lost that opportunity, or what are the options for the student athletes that are trying to to be recruited for college. Especially, we've had a lot of Santa Clara student athletes that have had a lot of opportunities in colleges based on their play here.
Yeah, so in the pre-pandemic period, yes, I mean, given the reputation of Santa Clara Sporting, we were fortunate enough to have many of our student athletes continue their playing careers into the college. So typically we would see the vast majority of our older teams, particularly at the higher end sporting teams, go on to play at all levels of college, from junior college all the way up to Division I. This year is going to be different. With the pandemic, the NC2A has decided to extend the eligibility of upperclassmen that are playing in college today an additional year. So that has direct implications on high school seniors that are looking to go into college in the fall of 2021. So in a normal year, maybe you have a college that's a Division I school that's looking to fill anywhere from 6 to 8 spots. That's now being cut in half or more because of the fact that those schools are going to maintain their upperclassmen an additional year. So for us, we're going to be telling a lot of our players.
Yeah, what's your advice for your players?
Yeah, so it's going to be challenging. From a soccer perspective, if they're looking at soccer as their entree into college, and it's a priority of them to play college soccer, they're going to need to be very aggressive with their outreach to the colleges, which they should anyway, but it's going to be even more important now. But I'm telling the kids on my team and the ones and our other coaches, their sporting coaches are telling folks that they're going to need to expand the population of schools that they look at.
Or community college, right?
Yeah, it could be someone that was solely looking at Division I. There are very good schools in Division II, Division III, and even junior college that they can go to. The junior college is going to be a good option for a lot of people because of the pandemic, because of the uncertainty around when we're going to actually have normal competitive activity. And until that happens, the recruiting for college is going to be somewhat disrupted. So that may be an option, or even a gap year where someone maybe takes a year off from school and then is ready for 2022. So we're going to be prepared to work with our players to look at any of those avenues.
So let's talk about the impacts of these players face with limited play, whether they're recreational players, whether they're competitive players. Let's talk about the emotional, the physical, and the social impacts of the pandemic. And what are you seeing there? Because I see that as a huge issue.
Oh, it's huge for all of us. I mean, obviously we're all creatures of habit, and we're used to normal activity. So, when the stay-at-home order came down, the first month or two, the biggest obvious impact was physical, just not having that physical activity, not being able to go outside and run and exercise and do the social interaction with your teammates. And then after 2 or 3 months, you're really starting to see the emotional impact, not just on the kids, but also the parents, the families. Everyone is getting cabin fever, and there's a lot of anxiety that you're seeing, come out in different ways depending on the age and the circumstance of the individuals.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
I see it everywhere. They want to be natural. They want to be out and play, and their parents want them out too. And we're worried. We're worried about our children.
Absolutely.
We're really, really worried. So, all right. I see that we might have some questions or comments on Facebook. Let's go to them, and then I have a few more questions before we end the session.
Sure.
Larry Oliveira, why is Santa Clara County getting more COVID-19 cases? I think that, first of all, people need to social distance. They need to wear their masks. They need to wash their hands. They need to be very diligent about how they're conducting activities. And I think maybe some people are not. And so it spreads when they don't. And I know that, Larry, we're coming into the holiday season, and where people naturally want to gather. And the flu season as well. So it's just extra important that we're diligent in what we do, parents, children, everything else.
Yep.
He says, hey, Steve and Mayor Gilmore, keep up the good work. Thank you, Larry. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Kurt Vartan, love these programs. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for watching. You're a loyal watcher. We appreciate too. Let's go on a positive note. On a positive note, have you seen the new Reed and Grant Sports Park? And I assume you have, but I'm asking you anyway.
I have. I got a tour with the city 2 weeks ago, and it's just fantastic.
So we had a groundbreaking, the council had a groundbreaking 2 years ago, and it was amazing. We were breaking ground. I went back 2 years later. Mm-hmm. I tried to stay away from it, and it was just awesome. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I think we have a short video that talks about, that shows the opening from a couple weeks ago. Okay, can we run that video, please? Oh, I can talk? Okay. All right, Steve. So we had Santa Clara Lions there and Santa Clara Sporting there.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Did you notice my kick?
I did notice your kick, Madam Mayor. You had several of the youth that certainly had a little bit more distance on their passing than you did. But we can work on that if you want.
I think it might be too late. I was a volleyball player growing up, not a soccer player. Could you tell?
I could tell it probably wasn't your first sport, but look, we have plenty of coaches that could help you. You just need the desire to get out there.
Okay, but look at this beautiful facility with all of those fields, and it's for multi-sport as well.
Yes.
And the playground, and I know, being a soccer mom and having young children during the time some of my children were playing, to have that beautiful playground, that beautiful and safe playground next to the fields, it becomes a whole family day, at the park. And I know you've noticed that from our Santa Clara Youth Soccer Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's not lost on myself or the league how fortunate our kids are to be able to take advantage of top-rate facilities like this. I mean, the soccer park is among the best facilities in all of California, and now we have another sports facility that caters to more of our younger demographics. So we're really fortunate to be able to be in a place where we can access such top-class facilities.
And I think because of the pandemic, more and more, the city's providing more and more facilities to keep our children and our families safe. When we did open the Reed and Grant Street, we also remodeled, refurbished, and opened for the first time 4 other parks. And we have more on the way in Santa Clara. So the need to be outside during this time is been critical for us. And I know you're seeing that with the soccer teams.
Oh, absolutely. Again, though we're disappointed that we're not able to actually compete in a game situation, we're really happy to be out and getting the exercise and the activity and the social interaction that we all need.
Okay, I have just a couple more questions for you. One is, we have other leagues like Santa Clara Youth Soccer. We have PAL, and we have baseball leagues, Westside Little League, Briarwood Little League. We have football. Pop Warner football and others, the Lions, mm-hmm. and this and that. How important are those programs for the youth in our community as a supplement to some of the public school activities? I know you and I have had conversations about this, but talk about how important all of these youth sports programs are.
Well, look, I mean, I've had a chance to meet most of the leaders of the little leagues and the PAL and the other sports in the city. I don't think I can stress enough how important youth sports are for creating positive, safe environments for the kids of Santa Clara. So, I mean, there are so many studies that show what the benefits of physical activity and sports are downstream, and the lessons that you learn in terms of teamwork and leadership and the other things, if taught correctly in those environments, translates nicely into adulthood and collaboration, once you become an adult.
Right, right. So before we go, what message would you like to leave our audience about youth sports and the path forward in the midst of this pandemic?
Well, first, I certainly want to give kudos to the city of Santa Clara, and particularly the Parks and Recs department. I mean, we have such an incredible partnership with them, Jim Teixeira and his group, Kim, Angelique, Marlon, and the rest of the staff have, really been tremendous business partners for us, for our league. So we're very appreciative of that. We're a sports league. We want to play. It's as simple as that. We're pushing all the envelopes that we can to get our kids to compete at the highest level possible, but we're also going to do that in a safe and effective manner.
Well, we appreciate everything you do and all the other heads and coaches and parents and everything else. We do appreciate what you do, because so much is a labor of love from all of you coaches and parents, keeping the kids active, keeping them busy, keeping them healthy, and with this extra level of COVID-19 and the pandemic, helping them with their social and emotional and other issues as well. I just want to let you and all the other sports leagues know that the city of Santa Clara is behind you, and we're doing what we can to make sure that we have beautiful, safe, and open parks for our community to keep everyone healthy. So thank you so much, Steve, for joining me today. Really appreciate it. You've been a really wealth of information.
Well,
and
thanks.
I want to say hi to your wife, Casey, who I think you failed to tell her that you were on today. So I told her, though. So
Yes, you did.
yeah, okay, very good.
Thank you.
So that's all the time we have today at Mayor at Noon. So join us on Facebook Live next Friday at noon. So thank you for watching. Keep it covered and play it safe, Santa Clara.